It all started with a lie, a carefully crafted illusion. When colonizers stepped onto African soil, they didn't just bring guns, flags, and Bibles. They brought a silent poison, aspiration. They taught our grandparents that Europe was paradise, that English and French were superior, that London was cleaner than Lagos, that Paris was holier than Accra, that success meant leaving behind your skin, your soil, your spirit. The first African elites were trained in colonial schools, told to wear suits instead of robes, taught Shakespeare, not Shaka Zulu. History books were rewritten to make it look like Africa began with slavery, not science, not medicine, not kingdoms. From that moment, we were no longer raised to build our continent. We were raised to escape it. If you're learning something already, subscribe to Pan African Storyteller. We're not just telling stories, we're rebuilding truth. When the colonial masters left, we thought we were free, but they left puppets behind. African leaders with European tastes, Swiss bank accounts, and no vision for the people. They took foreign loans, sold our resources for pennies, and made deals that only served the elite. In the 1980s, the IMF and World Bank forced African nations to accept structural adjustment programs. It sounded helpful, but it destroyed us. Hospitals collapsed, public schools shut down, agriculture weakened, unemployment exploded. For the average African family, survival became impossible. And suddenly, the message returned: if you want to live, leave. And we did. On foot, on boats, on scholarships, on fake visas. We left in millions. Doctors, lawyers, engineers, teachers, all trained in Africa, all gone. The 1990s saw a mass exodus. The best minds left and never came back. Some found success. Many suffered. Many still do. They cleaned toilets with PhDs. They worked double shifts in hospitals where no one pronounces their name right. They raise children who will never visit their village. And every month, they send money home. Billions of dollars in remittances. They became our silent heroes, holding up entire economies. But the world noticed, and the world didn't like it. So what did they do? Before we go further, subscribe to Pan African Storyteller, because this truth, you won't hear it on the news. First, they banned our people. Now, they ban our money. Trump's 2025 order to restrict remittances from undocumented Africans is not just policy, it's punishment. He knows remittance is our lifeline, our hope, our bread. So, he cuts it. Just like they banned visas to Nigeria, Eritrea, Sudan, Tanzania, and others in 2020. They claim it's for security, but it's fear. Fear of African power, fear of our numbers, fear that we might rise. They don't just want to stop migration. They want to crush the possibility of Africa thriving without them. And yet, we remain silent. Many Africans abroad are unhappy, but they can't say it. They live in expensive cities, sharing rooms with strangers. They work jobs they hate just to send money back home. They pretend they're okay because Africa expects them to make it. But here's the truth. The West is not heaven. Not when you're black. Not when your name is hard to pronounce. Not when your visa is temporary. And so, migration becomes a trap. You can't go back. You don't want to stay. And you lose yourself in between. That is the pain no one posts on Instagram. That is the silence beneath the success stories. If we don't own our wealth, if we don't fix our governments, if we don't protect our people, we will keep losing them. The best minds will keep leaving. The youth will keep drowning in oceans. And the world will keep laughing. But it doesn't have to end that way. Africa can rise. We can build our own tech hubs, our own universities, our own industries, our own voice. We can create a continent where people want to stay, not because they're stuck, but because they're proud. It starts with truth, with storytelling, with rejecting shame, and reclaiming power. If you are an African in the diaspora, speak up. If you are at home, rise up. The time of escape is over. Now is the time to rebuild. Africa, don't run. Reclaim. They tried. Before Ibrahim Traoré, long beforehand. Some African leaders knew what was happening. They knew that the system we were born into wasn't made for us, and they fought to fix it. Queen Nkrumah of Ghana, he was one of the first. He dreamed of a united Africa, one passport, one currency, one destiny. He said it clearly: the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of the African continent. But the West didn't like that. They feared African unity more than African poverty, and so Nkrumah was overthrown. Then came Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso, young, bold, and bought and afraid. He changed his country's name from Upper Volta to Burkina Faso, land of upright people. He refused foreign aid. He told African countries to stop paying colonial debt. He planted trees, gave land back to farmers, banned luxury cars for officials. He told the people, let us consume what we produce, and produce what we consume. He was building a self-sufficient Africa. But 4 years later, he was assassinated, many say by his closest friend, with foreign powers behind it, because Sankara was becoming dangerous, not to Africans, but to the global order. Then came Gaddafi. Yes, the Libyan leader who also dreamed of African unity. He proposed a United States of Africa. He invested in satellite systems, banks, and an African currency backed by gold. They mocked him in the media. Then NATO bombed his country. He was captured and killed. Libya has never been the same since. These were the leaders who tried, but then silence. For years, Africa had only presidents who bowed to foreign powers, who sold off mines and land, who begged for loans, while their people begged for food. Leaders who wore suits, but had no vision. And so the youth lost hope. They fled. They stopped believing in change. Until now, Ibrahim Traoré, a young captain in the military of Burkina Faso. No political godfathers, no Western degrees, just conviction. In 2022, he led a coup that shocked the world, not because it was violent, but because it had purpose. He said the government had failed, that Burkina Faso was bleeding, that foreign troops were not protecting his people. So he took power, but what he did next surprised everyone. He kicked out French troops. He took control of national resources. He formed alliances with other West African nations tired of colonial puppets. He invited farmers, teachers, and students to help shape a new constitution. Traoré didn't just talk. He acted. He visits markets without bodyguards. He addresses the nation in native languages. He sleeps in military barracks. He donates his salary to the cause. He calls himself a servant, not a president. And for the first time in years, Africans from Mali, Niger, Guinea, Ghana, Nigeria are listening. Young people are saying, we want our own Traoré. Flags of West Africa are being raised together. Songs, poems, and graffiti now carry his face. But the world is watching too. And history has taught us what happens when African leaders begin to wake the people. Sankara was killed. Gaddafi was destroyed. Will they try to stop Traoré? Maybe. But this time, the people are awake. He's not just another president. He's a symbol, a spark. And if Africa can protect that spark, maybe this time, the fire won't go out. Maybe this time, the dream won't die in exile. It will grow on African soil. So, to every African watching this, do not be distracted. While you scroll through social media, history is happening, and the future of your children is being decided. We must support African leadership that is for the people. We must educate ourselves. We must unite, not just in pain but in purpose, because no one will save Africa, but Africans. Share this story, leave your comment, and subscribe to Pan African Storyteller. This is not just content. This is a movement, and your voice matters. Let the world know Africa is rising, with or without their approval.